Okay, so Rizal in London, and it was in May 1888 to March 1889. No? So approximately 10 months siya doon sa London. Okay? So after visiting the United States, Rizal lived in London from May 1888 to March 1889. So he chose this English city to be his new home for three reasons. Ano? O tatlong reasons niya. Una is to improve his knowledge of the English language. No? Pangalawa, to study and annotate Morga's sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. Okay, and pangatlo is London is a safe place for him to carry on his fight against Spanish tyranny. So yung tatlo na yon ang reasons why Rizal decided to stay in London. No? Okay. Okay, so he engaged in London, he engaged in Filipiniana studies. Ano? Pag sinabi natin Filipiniana studies, ito yung mga studies about the Philippines. And then he completed annotating Morga's book. No? Ano na nga yung Morga's book na yon? Ito yung Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. Okay? Okay. Wait lang. Naliligaw ako. So on May 24, 1888, Rizal arrived at Liverpool, England. No? Yun yung unang lugar na pinuntahan niya sa England. So he spent one day in this port city, and then afterwards ay lumipat siya, tumira siya doon sa Adelphi Hotel sa Liverpool. So when in London, wait lang, maganda to. So he stayed as a guest for a short time at the home of Dr. Antonio Maria Regidor. So si Antonio Maria Regidor ay isang exile noong 1872. Ano? And then of course, nakarating siya ng London, and he is now a practicing lawyer doon sa London. Uh, and then afterwards ay tumira siya doon sa bahay nila uh, ng mga Beckett. Ano? Okay, so the Becketts were, si Mr. Beckett is an organist sa St. Paul's Church. And then si Mrs. Beckett naman, yung wife niya, they have two sons and four daughters. The oldest of the Beckett sisters was Gertrude, called Gertie or Toti by her friends. Ano? So later on, magkakaroon ng affair itong si Gertrude Beckett kay Jose Rizal. No? So the Beckett home was to Rizal conveniently located. Malapit ito sa mga public parks and was within easy walking distance of the British Museum, where he expected to do much research work. Okay. So yun ay doon sa 37 Chalcot Crescent, Primrose Hill. Okay, so naging border siya ng Beckett family. And then later on, Rizal came to know Dr. Reinhold Ross. So Dr. Reinhold Ross is the librarian of the Ministry of Affairs and an authority on Malayan language. So si Dr. Reinhold Ross was impressed by Rizal learning and character, na-impress siya kay Rizal, and he gladly recommended him to the authorities of the British Museum. No? So, nirecommend siya para naman makapag-research siya doon sa British Museum. So, sabi nga ni Dr. Ross, Rizal is a pearl of a man. No? Kumanga ito kaagad si Dr. Reinhold Ross. Okay. Next, Rizal spent much time in the British Museum, poring over the pages of Morgan's Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. So, binasa niyang mabuti yung kay Morgan na yun, ano? And then, of course, nagbasa rin siya ng mga rare historical works about the Philippines. So, he frequently visited Dr. Regidor and nakipag-discuss siya rito about sa mga problema pertaining to Philippine affairs. So, during Sundays, he spent Sundays in the house of Dr. Ross, with whom he had many pleasant discussions on linguistics. Nakikipaglaro din siya ng cricket. Yung cricket, ito yung isang popular English game. And nakikipag-boxing din siya doon sa anak ni Dr. Ross. Ano? Okay, parang para to while away time and para makapag-exercise sila, nakikipag-boxing siya doon sa anak ni Dr. Ross. Okay, so while in London, he received both good and bad news from home. You know? So the bad news were the injustices committed by the Spanish authorities on the Filipino people and the Rizal family. Unang-una, yung persecution of the Filipino patriots who signed the anti-prior petition of 1888, no? Which was presented by Doroteo Cortes, a prominent Mason and lawyer, to Jose Centeno, civil governor of the province of Manila, on March 1, 1888. So this anti-prior petition was written by Marcelo S. del Pilar, and it was addressed to the Queen Regent, the Queen of Spain during that time. So this petition was signed by about 800 patriots, requesting the expulsion of the friars. Nire-request nila na paalisin na ang mga friars dito sa Pilipinas, which includes Archbishop Pedro Payo of Manila, Dominican friar to. So yun yung isa sa mga bad news. And also, yung persecution of the Calamba tenants, including Rizal's family and relatives, for their courage to petition the government for agrarian reform. Kasi noong mga panahon niya na yun ay nagkakaroon na ng gulo sa Calamba. So nagpipetition sila sa gobyerno na magkaroon ng reforma sa agraryo. So, and then of course, yung number 3 ay yung furious attacks on Rizal by Senator Salamanca and Vida in the Spanish Cortes. And by Desengaños, ito si Wenceslao Irritana, which later on ay hahamunin niya sa isang duelo. So ito yung laging tumutulig sa kanya, si Wenceslao Irritana. And of course, si Kikiap, si Pablo Peset, isang Spanish newspaper. So itong dalawa na to, kasama itong si Senator Salamanca and Vida, ay inaatake yung kanyang writings, ibig sabihin ay sinisiraan si Jose Rizal, mga tao na to. And then pang-apat, yung Rizal's brother-in-law, yung bayaw niya, na si Manuel T. Hidalgo, ito yung asawa ni Saturnina, yung pinakamatanda niyang kapatid, ay in-exile ni Governor Weyler sa Bohol na wala man lang nangyaring due process. No? Wala man lang paglilitis na nangyari, basta't ipinatapon na lang siya sa buhol. And then another one, a friend of Rizal by the name of Laureano Biado, isang medical student ito sa University of Santo Tomas, ay naaresto at ikinulong sa Bilibid Prison dahil nahulihan siya ng kopya ng no limitang hearing. No? Ganun lang, ganung mga kasalanan lang, nahulihan lang ng no limitang hearing, ay ikinukulong na yung mga Pilipino. Talagang mainit ang gobyerno doon kay Jose Rizal, especially the Bryans. Okay. However, meron din isang good news na kinatuwa ni Rizal. And that was Reverend Vicente Garcia's defense of the Noli against the attacks of the Friars. No? So, merong isang nagtatanggol sa doon sa Noli Mitangi rin yung si Rizal. At ito ay si Reverend Vicente Garcia. No? Isa siyang Filipino canon of the Manila Cathedral. No? Later on ay sinulatan niya itong si Father Garcia expressing his personal thanks. Okay, so he was deeply gratified by the courageous action of Father Garcia. Okay? Okay, so the greatest achievement of Rizal in London was the annotation of Morga's book. Ibig sabihin ng annotation, ito yung nire-review niya and then mayroon siyang halimbawa mayroon siyang nakitang pagkakamali doon sa book na yon ay nilalagyan niya ng paliwanag at itinatama niya. Yun yung annotation, no? So itong Sucesos de las Islas Pilipinas ay isang book ito about the historical events of the Philippine Island. Isang history book ito. Na ipinablish ito sa Mexico noong 1609. So, he spent many days in the reading room of the British Museum, kung saan siya nag-research, reading over the pages of this book, and laboriously reading the old histories of the Philippines at the same time, katulad ng mga sinulat nila Father Chirino, Father Colin, Father Argonsola, and Father Plasencia. Ito yung mga Spanish writers ito. Mga friar sila, mga pari na nagsusulat ng mga histories na may kinalaman sa Pilipinas. No? And then of all written histories published during the early years of the Spanish regime, yung kay Dr. Morga, ang kanyang in his opinion is the best. No? Pinakamaganda raw, pinakamagaling. Kaya nga sumulat siya kay Blumentritt. Sinasabi niya, Morga's book work is an excellent book. Sabi niya, it can be said that Morga is a modern scholarly explorer. Pinahangaan niya si Morga. He does not have the superficiality and exaggeration. Wala raw yung mga exaggerated na na, 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 na facts, na events na ginagamit ni Morgan, which are found among Spaniards today. Kasi karamihan ng mga Spaniards ay ganun magsulat. Pinalala nila yung mga sitwasyon dito sa Pilipinas. So sabi niya, Morgan writes very simply, but one has to read between the lines. Okay. And then for about 10 months, from 1888 to March 1889, Rizal was deeply immersed in his historical studies in London. Um, during which during which time his compatriots in Spain were waging the crusade for Philippine reforms. No? Yung mga kasamahan niya sa Espanya ay kasalukuyan ng nag-uumpisa sa pakikipaglaban sa pamamagitan ng panulat, para sa Philippine reforms. At one time, itong si Mariano Ponce, whom he had never yet met, hindi pa niya nami-meet itong si Mariano Ponce, and who was then living in Barcelona, and he urged him to edit a newspaper which would defend the Filipino interests from the attacks of their Spanish detractors. Kaya lang, he refused Ponce's request. Sabi niya, he was busy, and then I am dedicated day and night to certain studies, so that I cannot edit any newspaper. So tinanggihan niya yung offer ni Mariano Ponce. Okay, so early in September 1888, bumisita siya sa Paris. Magkalapit lang kasi itong yung London, tsaka yung Paris, by train lang, makakapunta ka na. Sa Europe kasi itong parehas So, he visited Paris for a week. Isang linggo sila sa Paris. In order to search for more historical materials. Sa isang library doon na pangalan ay Bibliothèque Nationale. There, he was entertained in this gay French metropolis by Juan Luna. Nagkita sila ni Juan Luna doon. At saka yung asawa ni Juan Luna na si Paz Pardo de Tavera. Okay. And then after poring over the old books and manuscript in the Bibliothèque Nationale, he returned to London again. Makinig po kayo dahil magkakaroon tayo ng question and answer mamaya after this. Okay? And then on December 11, 1888, Rizal went to Spain, visiting Madrid and Barcelona. So there he contacted his compatriots and surveyed the political situation with regards to the agitation for Philippine reforms. Nakita sila ni Marcelo Estel Pilardon at saka si Mariano Ponce for the first time. For the first time, nakita sila ni Mariano Ponce. Si Marcelo Estel Pilar at saka si Mariano Ponce, ito yung tinuturing ng mga mahahalagang tao sa propaganda movement. Okay? And then, of course, he exchanged ideas with his new friends and promised to cooperate in the fight for reforms. So, sabi ni Rizal, sige, at tutulong ako, pag-cooperate ako sa inyo para maipaglaban natin yung ating reforma na hinihingi sa Espanya. Okay, so while busy in his historical studies in London, Rizal learned that the Filipinos in Barcelona were planning to establish a patriotic society. So nalaman niya na itong mga Pilipino sa Barcelona ay nagtatatag ng isang patriotic society which would cooperate in the crusade for reforms. So this society called Asociación Solidaridad, or Solidaridad Association, it was inaugurated on December 31, 1888 with the following officers. Okay, unang-una si Galicano Apacible as President, Graciano Lopez Ayla as Vice President, Manuel Santa Maria as Secretary, and Mariano Ponce Treasurer, and Jose Maria Panganiban as the Accountant. And then of course, pumili sila ng honorary president, no? So by unanimous vote of all the members, no? Nagbotohan sila kung sino magiging honorary president, ay nanalo si Rizal by unanimous vote, no? So this was a recognition of his leadership among all Filipino patriots in Europe. So as the leader of his countrymen in Europe, Rizal wrote a letter, addressed to the members of the Asociación La Solidaridad. No? In this letter, ay in-express niya yung pasasalamat niya for the honor of making him honorary president and gave them some advice. Okay, Rizal and La Solidaridad. No? Yung Asociación Solidaridad ay iba to doon sa La Solidaridad because La Solidaridad is a newspaper. No? So, kaya nga, noong February 5, Graciano Lopez Haina, Lopez to hindi less, Lopez Haina founded the patriotic newspaper called La Solidaridad in Barcelona, where he was residing. No? Si Graciano Lopez Haina ang founder ng La Solidaridad. So ang aim actually ng propaganda movement ay para makapag-establish nga ng isang newspaper, no? Para naman ay doon nila mai-air yung kanilang mga kahilingan, no? And then 2 days after the birth of La Solidaridad, Marcelo S. del Pilar wrote to Rizal in London. So Rizal congratulated Graciano Lopez Haina and his associates in founding La Solidaridad. No? So ito yung mga advice ni Rizal. Okay, so unang-una, to work peacefully for political and social reform. Dapat daw ay matahimik. No? And then to portray the deplorable conditions of the Philippines so that Spain may remedy them. No? Para maipakita yung mga deplorable conditions na nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas. Para naman, pag nalaman ng Espanya or ng King of Spain or ng Queen of Spain, ay marimedyohan ito. And then of course, to oppose the evil forces of reaction and medievalism. No? To advocate liberal ideas and progress, and to champion the legitimate aspirations of the Filipino people to life, democracy, and happiness. So, he advised him that great care should be taken in publishing only the truth in La Solidaridad. Sabi niya, dapat ay puro katotohanan lang ang ipapublish natin doon at dapat daw ay maging maingat, dapat ay hindi magpapublish ng mga exaggerations or yung mga pangyayari na pinalalala lamang sa pamamagitan ng panulat, o kaya ay wag daw manggagaya ng mga articles, dahil yun ay some plagiarism, and then who avail themselves of dishonest means and of vulgar and ignoble language to attain their ends. So sabi niya, the periodical is just, honest, and dapat ay truthful. So that its opinion may always be respected. It is necessary that we show our enemies that we are worthy than they, morally and humanly speaking. Sabi nga niya, should we tell the truth, we shall have won our cause because reason and justice are on our side and there is no need for knaveries. So ito yung mga advices ni Jose Rizal. Okay, so yung first article na sinulat ni Rizal sa La Solidaridad newspaper ay yung Los Agricultores Filipinos. No? Los Agricultores. Agricultores. Mali ito. Although dapat, ano? Agricultores. So it was published on March 25, 1889. 6 na araw bago siya umalis ng London papunta ng Paris. So dito sa initial article ni Rizal na to, he depicted the deplorable conditions in the Philippines which caused okay. And then while busy in research studies at the British Museum, Rizal received news on Father Rodriguez, unabated attack on his Noli. So itong si Fray Rodriguez na to, Fray Rodriguez, ay hindi nilulubayan yung pag-atake sa kanya, sa kanyang nobela na Noli. So, in defense, para depensahin niya yung kanyang sinulat, ay gumawa siya ng isang pamphlet entitled La Vision del Fray Rodriguez. In English, The Vision of Fray Rodriguez, which was published in Barcelona under his nom de plume or yung kanyang bansag na yung kanyang pen name na Di Masalang. So this pamphlet is a satire depicting a spirited dialogue between Saint Augustine and Father Rodriguez. So parang sinasatire niya si Fray Rodriguez. Ginagawa niyang katatawanan. Yung mga sinasabi ni Fray Rodriguez. Okay, so in La Vision del Fray Rodriguez, Rizal demonstrate two things. Yung kanyang profound knowledge of religion, malawak ang kaalaman niya tungkol sa religion, and of course, yung kanyang biting satire. Okay, next na sinulat niya ay yung letter to the young women of Malolos. So while in London, Rizal wrote the famous letter to the young women of Malolos in Tagalog. So sinulat niya to sa request ni Marcelo S. de Pilar to praise the young ladies of Malolos for their courage to establish a school where they could learn Spanish. Despite the opposition, of course, of Father Felipe Garcia, isang Spanish priest, parish priest ng Malolos. Okay, so ito yung mga points doon sa letter. Unang-una, sinasabi ni Rizal that a Filipino mother should teach her children love of God, fatherland, and mankind. Itong letter na to, parang pinupuri niya yung mga kababaihan doon sa Malolos. And then of course, the letter niya, sinasabi niya ron, yung mga do's and don'ts ng bawat isang Pilipina. Una-una nga, sabi nga niya, dapat daw ay turuan ng mga magulang ang kanilang mga anak ng pagmamahal sa Diyos, pagmamahal sa bayan, at pagmamahal sa mankind. Pangalawa, the Filipino mother should be glad. Dapat daw ay maging masaya sila, like the Spartan mother, to offer her sons in the defense of the fatherland. Dapat daw maging bukas yung mga Filipino mother para yung mga anak nila ay ma-i-offer nila kung sakaling kinakailangan para sa depensa ng ating inong bayan, ng ating bayan. And also, a Filipino woman should know how to preserve her dignity and honor. And a Filipino woman should educate herself. aside from retaining her good racial virtues. And lastly, yung number 5, faith is not merely reciting long prayers. Sabi niya, ang pananampalataya ay hindi lang yung pagdadasal, ano? At susuot ng mga religious pictures. But rather, it is living the real Christian way with good morals and good manners. And then also, yung isang ano doon, isang Asian Studies, ano, isang journal, ano, devoted to Asian Studies ay request ni Rizal na mag-contribute ng mga articles doon sa kanilang journal, and it was edited by Dr. Roth. Okay, next, Romance with Gertrude Beckett. Ano? So si Gertrude Beckett, ito yung panganay na anak ng doon sa sa Beckett family, ano? So nagkaroon siya ng romantic interlude with the oldest of the 3 Beckett sisters. Ito na nga si Gertrude or Jetty kung tawagin niya, no? Isang English girl siya with brown hair, blue eyes, and rosy cheeks. At na-in love itong si Jetty kay Jose Rizal. May mga pangyayari na on cold winter morning ay she had a sunny smile for him, chattering gaily like a hummingbird. Pagka nagkakaroon ng mga family picnics, napakasaya nito si Jetty dahil si Rizal ay may kasama nila. No? And then of course, laging yung attention niya ay nasa kay Rizal. And in rainy days when Rizal stayed at home, ay tinutulungan siya ni Jetty sa pag-mix ng mga colors para dun sa painting niya na ginagawa or ina-assist siya sa pag-prepare ng mga kagamitan sa pag-sculptor. Si Gertrude Beckett. Okay, before leaving London, nakagawa ng 4 sculptures itong si Rizal. Unang-una ay yung Prometheus Bound, no? And then the Triumph of Death over Life, the Triumph of Science over Death, and a composite carving of the heads of the Beckett sisters. So ito, iniregalo niya to as a farewell gift to the Beckett sisters. Yung yung isang sculptural work niya na yung Triumph of Death over Life, Triumph of Death over Life. Mali ito. And the Triumph of Science over Death ay ibinigay naman niya sa kanyang kaibigan na si Professor Blumentritt na nasa Lake Louise. And then on March 1989 ay umalis na si Rizal sa London. Rizal bade goodbye to the kind Beckett family, particularly kay Gertrude, and then left London to Paris. So he was sad as he crossed the English Channel, for he cherished so many beautiful memories of London. So nalulungkot siya dahil naaalala niya yung mga magagandang pangyayari nung siya ay nasa London pa lang. And then Rizal's second sojourn in Paris and the Universal Exposition of 1889. Okay. So, Rizal, fresh from London, was caught in the wheel of Parisian life. So, he continued his fruitful, artistic, literary, and patriotic labors. Pinagpatuloy niya yung kanyang mga gawain. And nag-publish siya. Pinublish na niya yung annotated edition nung sinusulat niya, wina-annotate niya yung Morga Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. And there, he founded 3 Filipino societies. doon sa Paris. So ito yung kanyang mga societies na founded by Rizal. Unang-una yung Dakidlat Club, pangalawa yung Indios Bravos, and then the RDLM, ito yung Redemption of the Malays, Redemption de los Malayos, RDLM. Okay, so while in Paris ay nagkaroon siya ng difficulty in finding quarters. Wala siyang maupahan na hotel, no, na matitirahan niya. Kasi nga, during that time ay nagaganap yung Universal Exposition, no, which was scheduled to open on May 6, 1889. Kung saan ay napakaraming turista ang nagpupuntahan doon sa Paris by that time. And kaya nga, lahat ng accommodation sa mga hotel ay nakabook na or were already taken. Rizal lived in the house of his friend. Nakitira muna siya sa bahay ng isang kaibigan na si Valentin Ventura doon sa number 45 Rue Maubuée. Rizal transferred his residence several times. Nagpalipat-lipat siya. And then finally, he lived in a little room together with other Filipinos. So, ito yung mga kasama niya sa isang kwartong maliit. No? Si Kapitan Justo Trinidad, isang former gobernadorcillo ng Santa Ana, Manila. Dating mayor ng Santa Ana, Manila. And a refuge from Spanish tyranny. No? Sabihin na tumakas din sa Spanish tyranny sa Pilipinas. No? Na-exile din, kaya napunta sa Paris. And then of course, si Jose Albert, isang estudyante na galing sa Manila. So, like in Paris was sparkling merriment. No? During that time kasi nga, meron yung National Exposition, ay napakasaya doon sa Paris. No? Maraming mga social parties. And Rizal continued to be busy. So he used most of his time in reading room at the National Library. And then, pagka nasa living quarters niya, nagsusulat siya ng mga letters to his family and friends. In the gymnasium for his daily physical exercises and visiting his friends. No? So hindi niya nakakalimutang mag-exercise. No? And then, bumibisita siya sa mga kaibigan niya. So, in his spare hours, Rizal used to dine out, no? At the homes of his friends. So, katulad nila Pardo de Tavera, yung the Venturas, the Bosteds. Ito yung mga mga kaibigan ni Rizal doon sa Paris. And then of course sila Luna, no? So, he was a good friend of the three Pardo de Taveras. Yung tatlong Pardo de Taveras na to ay mga kaibigang mataling ni Rizal. Katulad nila Dr. Trinidad Pardo de Tavera. Isang physician to, isang doktor by vocation and philologist by avocation. Si Dr. Felix Pardo de Tavera naman ay isa ring doktor by vocation at artist naman and sculptor by avocation. And si Paz Pardo de Tavera, ito yung wife ni Juan Luna. So itong mga Tavera na ito ay anak ito ni Don Joaquin Pardo de Tavera, isang exile din noong 1872 na tumakas doon sa Marianas Island at nakarating ng France. Ito na nanirahan. Okay, so like any ordinary Filipino tourist in a foreign land, Rizal was fascinated by the Universal Exposition of Paris, which opened on May 6, 1889. So yung greatest attraction dito sa exposition na to ay yung Eiffel Tower. No? At that time, may pinakamataas na tower na ginawa ng tao. 984 feet high. Ito ay itinayo ni Alexander Eiffel, isang celebrated French engineer. So, Rizal and his friends attended the opening ceremonies and saw the cutting of the ribbon by President Sadi Carnot of the Third French Republic. So, Paris was jammed with thousands of tourists. Napakaraming mga turista. Mga dibulibong mga turista ang dumating sa Paris na nanggagaling sa iba't ibang bahagi ng daigdig. Daily, the exposition drew a vast crowd of 20,000 persons or more. One of the features of the exposition ay yung international art competition. Kung saan yung mga Pilipino, katulad ni Felix R. Hidalgo, si Juan Luna, at saka si Felix Pardo de Tavera, at kasama na rin si Rizal ay sumali doon sa isang art competition. And in the end, yung painting ni Hidalgo ay nanalo ng second prize. Yun naman kay Juan Luna at saka kay Pardo de Tavera ay parehas na 10 prize ang nakuha. Sa yung kay Rizal namang entry, yung entry niya kasi ay isang sculpture. It is a bust which is modeled, which he modeled. Hindi ito nanalo ng kahit anong pwesto, no? So sabi nga, ito raw bust na to, yung sculpture na to, okay naman, ano, yung quality for the exhibition, pero hindi ito good enough to win an international prize. Okay. On March 19, 1889, the same day when he arrived in Paris from London, nag-organize si Rizal ng isang society na kung tawagin ay Kidlat Club. Kidlat. So, among its members were Antonio and Juan Luna, yung magkapatid na Luna, si Gregorio Aguilera, Fernando Canon, Lauro de Mayuga, Julio Llorente, Guillermo Puato, and Baldomero Rojas. Itong Kidlat Club was isa itong social society of a temporary nature. Ibig sabihin, hindi pang matagalan itong society na kinreate ni Rizal na ito, na founded ni Rizal. It was founded by Rizal simply para lang magkalapit-lapit yung mga young Filipinos doon sa France so that they could enjoy their sojourn in the city during the duration of the Universal Exposition. So, parang isang ano lang to, tawag dito, grupo ng mga magkakaibigan, ano? Ang aim lang nito ay para daw magkaroon ng komunikasyon ng bawat isa at ma-enjoy nilang mas mabuti yung Universal Exposition. So, hindi ito pang matagalang club. Okay? And then yung isa naman, yung Indios Bravos. So, in their sightseeing tour kasi doon sa exposition ground, Rizal and the members of the Kidlat Club were amazed to see the Buffalo Bull Show, no? Na kung saan ipinipicture yung mga American Indians. Sila yung mga red-skinned Indians. Sila yung mga nangangabayo, nakakita na ba kayo ng mga American Indians? Yung maraming mga palamuti sa muka, mga pinta sa muka, and then may mga headdress sila, native attire nila yon, and wearing their war feathers and paints, ano? So Rizal was enchanted by the dignified, na-enchant si Rizal doon sa dignified and proud bearing ng mga American Indians. So sinabi niya rin sa kanyang mga kaibigan, bakit nagagalit tayo pag tinatawag tayong Indio ng mga Kastila? Tingnan nyo yung mga Indios na from North America, hindi sila nahihiya doon sa kanilang pangalan, sa tawag sa kanila na Indians or Indio. So sabi niya, let us be like them. dapat ay ganun din tayo sa kanila. Dapat daw ay maging proud tayo pagka tinatawag tayong Indio. Para ma-revise daw yung conception ng term na yon sa mga Kastila. Sabi niya, we shall be Indios bravos. So doon na nga nag-umpisa yung new society ngayon ng mga Filipino patriots in Paris, yung Indios bravos or sa English ay brave Indians. So ito yung pumalit doon sa Kidlat Club. So yung mga members na dati ng Kidlat Club ay they pledge to excel in intellectual and physical prowess in order to win the admiration of the foreigners, particularly the Spaniards. They practice with great enthusiasm. Practice sila with great enthusiasm sa paggamit ng mga ng sword at saka ng pistol. Tinuruan sila ni Rizal ng judo, isang Asian art of self-defense ito. Na natutunan niya nung siya ay nasa Japan pa. Okay, so among Rizal's outstanding achievement in Paris in 1890 ay yung annotation niya doon kay Morgan Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas na isinulat niya at ni-research niya sa British Museum. It was printed by Grenier Freres. Okay, so yung Rizal's outstanding achievement in Paris, yun na nga, yung publication ng annotated edition ng Morgan. So, yung prologue nitong Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas ay isinulat ito ni Professor Blumentritt, o yung preface. Si Blumentritt ang sumulat nito upon the request of Rizal. So, doon sa preface ni Blumentritt, ay pinuri niya si Rizal doon sa sa kanyang fine historical scholarship. However, may napansin siyang pagkakamali ni Rizal doon sa kanyang sinulat. Sabi niya, Rizal commits the error of many historians in appraising the events of the past in the light of present standards. Isa raw pagkakamali ni Rizal diyan. Nakatulad rin ang karaniwang pagkakamali ng mga historians kung saan ay ina-appraise niya or ina-analyze niya yung mga events ng nakaraan in relation to the present standards, which is mali, di ba? So dapat kung i-appraise mo yung isang event from the past, dapat it must be in the light of the past standard, standards ng mga nakaraan. And also, isa sa napansin ni Blumentritt dito, yung pag-atake ni Rizal sa mga charts, dahil sabi niya, hindi naman lahat ng, hindi ko maabusado yung mga priors, parang mangyayari, parang yung Catholicism daw ay magiging masama. Hindi naman daw lahat ng priors ay abusado. So, sinasabi kasi ni Rizal doon na dahil abusado ang mga priors, ay masama ang Catholicismo na according to Professor Blumentritt ay isang pagkakamali. So, yun yung niya. Okay, so Rizal's other works, there are two historical commentaries which he wrote in London. Okay, ito yung The Philippines Within a Century. Pilipinas dentro de 100 años. The Philippines Within a Century. It was published in La Solidaridad in 4 issues. So in this article, Rizal expressed his views on the Spanish colonization in the Philippines, and then he predicted, with amazing accuracy, the tragic end of Spain's sovereignty in Asia. Parang dito sa Philippines within a century ay nabasa ni Rizal o tinredict ni Rizal na magwawakas din ang Spanish sovereignty dito sa Asia. No? Na nangyari naman talaga. So parang isang prophecy itong Philippines within a century. So ipinortray niya sa beginning ng article na to yung glorious past ng mga Filipino people. Then describe niya yung economic stagnation, no? And unhappiness under the harsh and bungling Spanish rule. Toward the last paragraph of the article, he peered into the future and warned Spain. Ginarlingan niya yung Spain of what would happen to her colonial empire in Asia if she would not adopt a more liberal and enlightened policy towards the Philippines. So, warning niya yun sa Spain. Kung hindi raw magiging liberal, no? At yung mga policies ay magsasagawa ng mga magagandang policy towards the Philippines ay mangyayari nga na mawawala o maglalaho yung Spanish rule dito sa buong Asia. No? So yun yung essence o yung essence ng book na The Philippines Within a Century. And then another one, The Indolence of the Filipinos. So this other essay of Rizal is also a prestigious work of historical scholarship. It is an able defense of the alleged indolence of the Filipinos. Sinasabi kasi ng mga Kastila na ang mga Pilipino raw ay tamad. Kaya sumulat si Rizal ng isang essay. At sinasabi niya na hindi totoo na ang mga Pilipino ay tamad. So, ang ginawa ni Rizal nga dito ay para itong isang critical study of the causes why his people did not work hard during the Spanish regime. No? So, pinaliwanag na Rizal, ano ba mga kadahilanan ang mga Pilipino ay hindi nagtrabahong mabuti noong panahon ng Kastila. So, his main thesis was that the Filipinos are not by nature indolent. Masisipag daw ang Pilipino. No? Hindi sila talaga tamad. Sinasabi nga niya, bago raw dumating ang mga Kastila, yun daw mga Filipinos were industrious and hardworking. No? They were very active in agriculture, industries, and commerce. So yun yung nilalaman ng indolence of the Filipinos. Okay, next ay yung por telepono. So, it was published in booklet form in Barcelona in 1889. So, Rizal received the printed copies from Mariano Ponce as revealed by his letter to the latter, dated August 13, 1889. So, itong satirical pamphlet na to under the authorship of Dimas Salang, isa na namang pen name na ginagamit ni Rizal, yung Dimas Salang, ito ay isang satire, isang witty satire na pinagtatawanan ito ng si Father Font. Father Font, no? Isang Spanish friar na naman. And then it describes in comical vein a telephone conversation between Father Font, who was in Madrid, and the Father Provincial of the San Agustin Convent in Manila. No? Incidentally, Portillo demonstrates not only Rizal's sparkling wit, but also his prophetic insight. No? Okay, so parang ito ay pinagtatawanan niya, isang satire. Itong si Father Font. No? For telepono kasi it is about a telephone conversation between Father Font and the provincial Father Provincial of the San Agustin Convent in Manila. Okay, next, chapter 16, in Belgian Brussels. So on January 28, 1890, Rizal left Paris for Brussels. Capital ito ng Belgium. Magkakalapit lang itong mga bansa na to. So, nagpunta na siya sa Belgium. Doon niya siya unang pumunta sa Brussels. Okay, so there are two reasons which impelled Rizal to leave Paris. Dalawa yung reason kung bakit umalis si Rizal sa Paris at nagpunta sa Brussels. Na unang-una, yung kasing cost of living in Paris ay napakataas because of the Universal Exposition. Mahal ang mga bilihin, mahal ang tirahan, mahal ang pagkain. No? Yun yung unang reason ni Rizal. And then yung pangalawa, yung gay socialite daw, masyado raw maingay doon sa Paris during that time, kaya yung kanyang pagsusulat ay naapektuhan. No? Especially, yung writing ng second novel niya na El Filibusterismo, na during that time ay inuumpisahan na niya, no? Sa Brussels. Yan yung dalawang reasons kung bakit lumipat si Rizal from Paris, nagpunta siya sa Brussels. Okay, so life in Brussels. So Rizal was accompanied by Jose Albert. Ito yung Filipino student sa Paris. When he moved to Brussels. So sinumahan siya ni Jose Albert. They live in a modest boarding house on 38 through Philippine Champagne. I'm not sure of this term, Philippine Champagne. So Rizal was busy writing his second novel by that time, yung El Filibusterismo. Ito ay isang continuation ng Noli Me Tangere. So aside from writing its chapters, ay nagsusulat din siya ng articles para sa La Solidaridad at of course mga letters para sa kanyang family and friends. So during his sojourn in Brussels, Rizal wrote articles for La Solidaridad in defense of his oppressed people and then to point out evils of Spanish rule in the Philippines. No? So ito na nga yung A la Defensa. This was a reply to an anti-Filipino writing of a Spanish author, Patricio de la Escosura, which was published by La Defensa on March 30, 1889. And then another one, La Verdad para Todos, in English, The Truth for All, on May 31, 1889. So, Rizal defense against the Spanish charges that the native local official were ignorant and depraved. Okay? So, sinasabi kasi ng mga Spaniards na yung daw mga local official ng mga Pilipino ay ignorante. No? At walang alam. Okay. So, yung La Verdad para Todos, ito yung depensa ni Rizal doon sa mga allegations na yun. And then, okay, si Vicente Barantes, Teatro Tagalog. No? Rizal exposes Barantes' ignorance on the Tagalog theatrical art. No? Kasi nagsulat itong si Vicente Barantes tungkol sa Tagalog theatrical art na maraming napansin ni Rizal na maraming kasinungalingan. No? Kaya sinabi niya, si Barante daw ay ignorante sa Tagalog theatrical art. And then, sumunod naman yung una profanation, a profanation, ano? Which this is a bitter attack against the friars for denying Christian burial to Mariano Herbosa and Calamba because he was a brother-in-law of Rizal. So, yung nangyari kasi yun, namatay yung kanyang bayaw, hindi binigyan ng Christian burial. Ibig sabihin, hindi pinayagang makapasok sa simbahan. nangyari, idiniretso na lang sa sementeryo. Noong mga panahon na yun, na isang napakalaking pagkutya sa pagkatao ng namatay, no? At ng mga namatayan. No? So yun yung inatake ni Rizal yung mga priors. Una, profanasyon. And then, panlima, yung Verdades Nuevas, New Truths sa English. Ito ay reply sa kay Vicente Veloc Sanchez letter published in La Patria, isang Madrid newspaper on July 4, 1889, which asserted that the granting of reforms in the Philippines would ruin the peaceful and maternal rule of the friars. Okay. So kung bibigyan daw ng reforma, kung gagawa daw ng reforma yung mga Spaniards dito sa Pilipinas, ito raw ang magro-ruin doon sa matahimik at maternal rule ng mga friars. Sinasabi nila na matahimik daw at maganda yung rule ng mga friars. So ito yung reply ni Rizal. And then number 6, cruelidad or cruelty, August 15, 1889. A brilliant defense of Blumentritt from the scurrilous attacks of his enemies. So, Rizal mentioned in this article how the audience, composed mostly of Spaniards and mestizos, stopped applauding when receiving first prize in the literary contest in 1880 because of his brown color. So, binanggit niya dito sa article na to. Kasi nanalo siya ng literary contest. So, nung malaman ng mga Spaniards at mga mestizo na siya ang nanalo, ay hindi sila pumalakpak. Dahil siya nga ay isang Pilipino. And then differences or differences. This is a reply to a biased article entitled All Truths, which was published in La Patria. This is La Patria, hindi La Patria. On August 14, 1889, which ridiculed those Filipinos who asked for reforms. And the number 8, inconsequentias, a defense of Antonio Luna against the attack of Pablo Mirvillas in the Barcelona newspaper El Pueblo Soberano. And then yung pang-siyam ay Llanto y Risas, Tears and Laughter, a denunciation of Spanish racial prejudice against the brown Filipino. So yung mga racial discrimination ginagawa ng mga Spaniards against the Filipinos. And the number 10 is ingratitudes. Ingratitudes. Ingratitude. Ito ay isang reply kay Governor General Valeriano Weyler na while visiting Calamba, sinabi sa mga tao that they should not allow themselves to be deceived by the main promises of their ungrateful sons. So sinasabi niya rito ni Weyler na ang binabanggit niya rito ay si Jose Rizal. Tinuturing niyang ungrateful son daw si Rizal ng Calamba. So kaya nga daw yung mga Calamba people ay hindi nila dapat sundin si Rizal. Yan ang So, in spite of his European education and his knowledge of foreign language, ay pinakita ni Rizal yung kanyang pagmamahal sa sariling wika, sa native language. So siya yung kauna-unahang nag-advocate ng Philippinization of each orthography. No? Yung orthography, ito yung system of writing. So dun kasi sa ating alphabet, yung Tagalog letters na K and W ay yung unang alphabet natin yung panahon ng Kastila. Wala tayong letter K tsaka walang W, no? So ang ginagamit natin ay yung letter C tsaka yung letter O, no? Katulad ng word na salakot. Hindi hindi ba dapat sa Tagalog ay letter K yun, hindi letter C. No? And then of course, yung araw, dapat ito ay A-R-A-W at hindi A-R-A-O. Okay, so yun yung binago ni Rizal dun sa ating uh, orthography. Orthography of Tagalog language. Okay, Rizal criticizes Madrid Filipinos for gambling. So, while in Brussels, ay nakatanggap ng isang news si Rizal galing kay Juan Luna at kay Valentin Ventura. Na yun daw mga Pilipino sa Espanya ay sinisira yung magandang pangalan ng ating bansa sa pamamagitan ng pagsusugal. Sobrang pagsusugal. So, itong dalawang compatriots nato ay sinabihang si Rizal na gumawa ng hakbang para mapigilan ang sobrang pagsusugal ng mga Pilipino. And then accordingly, sumulat si Rizal kay Marcelo S. Del Pilar on May 28, 1890 at ni-remind niya ang mga Pilipino sa Madrid na hindi sila nagpunta dito sa Europe para magsugal lang. Sa halip ay dapat ay magtrabaho sila para sa pagpapalaya ng ating bansa. So the gambling Filipinos in Madrid were angry. Nagalit siyempre ito kay Rizal. And then when they learned that of Rizal's moralizing. Kaya sa halip na tawagin nilang Pepe si Rizal, yung kasing Pepe yun ng palayaw ng Jose. So sa halip na Pepe ang tawag nila kay Rizal ay sinabi nila itong Papa or Po. Kasi nga ay nangangaral sa kanila. Okay. Parang nire-ridicule nila si Rizal. Okay, bad news from home. So, while in Brussels, nakatanggap si Rizal ng mga sulat, na which worried him. Yung Calamba agrarian trouble ay lumalala na daw, at saka yung daw management ng mga Dominican Hacienda ay nagpatuloy sa pagtaas ng mga renta. Until such time na yung tatay ni Rizal ay ayaw nang magbayad ng renta sa sobrang taas. Yung ibang mga tenants din na sumunod kay Don Francisco ay hindi na rin nagbabayad ng mga sobrang taas na renta doon sa kanilang mga sinasaka. Now, yung sad news na to ay dumipress kay Rizal. Naging malungkot si Rizal. His heart bled to know yung nakalulungkot na kalagayan ng kanyang mga parents, mga brother niya, mga brother-in-law niya. So kaya sumulat siya ng isang letter kay Soledad noong June 6, 1890. Ito yung nilalaman ng kanyang sulat. So in his moment of despair, Rizal had bad dreams during the nights in Brussels. Nagkakaroon siya ng mga masasamang panaginip. So lagi niya kasi iniisip yung kanyang pamilya sa Calamba. Although he was not superstitious, he feared that he would not live long. Parang nagkaroon siya ng presentiment of death. Parang inaisip niya na hindi rin magtatagal ang kanyang buhay. Although sabi niya hindi siya takot na mamatay, kaya lang ay gusto niya munang matapos yung kanyang second novel bago siya uh, malibing. No? Yun yung presentiment of death ni Jose Rizal. No? Nananaginip siya lagi. Okay, so preparation to go home. No? So dahil nga doon sa mga sufferings na nangyayari sa kanyang mga pamilya, nagplano si Rizal na umuwi. No? Sabi niya, hindi na niya kayang mag-stay sa Brussels, writing a book, habang yung kanyang mga parents, relatives, and friends sa Pilipinas ay being persecuted. So, hearing that Graciano Lopez Haina was planning to go to Cuba, so he wrote to Ponce on July 8, 1890, opposing Graciano's plan of action. No? So, nalaman kasi niya na si Graciano Lopez Haina, ito yung founder ng La Solidaridad, kung matatandaan nyo, nagpaplano na magpunta sa Cuba. Yung Cuba ay isang Spanish colony din noong mga panahon na yon. No? So, sabi ni Rizal ay hindi dapat pumunta sa Cuba si Graciano. No? Uh, dahil noong mga panahon na yon ay mayroong yellow fever doon. And then, of course, sa halip na magpunta siya sa Cuba, sabi niya ay dapat sa Pilipinas ay pumunta to allow himself to be killed in defense of his ideas. No? So, yun ang sinabi niya na hindi dapat magpunta sa Cuba si Graciano dahil mamamatay lang siya. No? Because of yellow fever. So, mas mainam daw na mamatay na lang sa Pilipinas. You know? Para i-depensa yung kanilang mga ipinaglalaban. Sabi nga ni Rizal, we have only once to die. Minsan lang tayo mamamatay. At kung hindi tayo mamamatay sa tamang pamamaraan, ay mawawala yung oportunidad natin, which will not again be presented to us. Ibig sabihin, minsan lang nila pwedeng ipagtanggol ang ating bayan. Okay, decision to go to Madrid. So, inignore ni Rizal yung warning ng kanyang mga kaibigan, ano? So, dahil wala nga raw threat of danger could change his plan. Sometimes, however, happened that suddenly made him change his mind. So, ito ay isang sulat na galing kay Pasiano. Ito ang nagpabago ng kanyang isipan, no? So, sinabi dito na they lost the case against the Dominicans in Manila. Natalo sila sa kaso na matagal nang dinidinig. Umapila sila sa Supreme Court in Spain. So, kailangan daw ng isang lawyer para mag-handle ng kaso nila doon sa Madrid kasi yung Supreme Court ay asa Espanya. Accordingly, Rizal wrote to Del Pilar na retaining the latter services as lawyer. So, sabi ni ito kasi si Del Pilar ay isang lawyer. So, ibig sabihin, sabi ni Jose Rizal, baka pwedeng ito na ang mag-represent doon sa pamilya namin, doon sa gaganaping hearing sa Supreme Court sa Espanya. Ito si Del Pilar. So, he further informed Del Pilar that he was going to Madrid para i-supervise personally yung handling ng kaso. Kaya siya nag-decide to go to Madrid. Ang decision niyang una ay para umuwi na ng Pilipinas. So nabago yun dahil sa letter ni Pasiano. In another letter to Ponce, written at Brussels, Rizal announced that he was leaving Brussels at the beginning of the following month and would arrive in Madrid about 3rd or 4th of August. Okay, so this one is a poem entitled To My Muse. Okay, hindi na muna natin di-discuss yung nilalaman ng poem na yun. Medyo mahaba-haba din ito. Okay, next ay yung Romance with Petit Jacobi. Petit Jacobi. So, alam naman natin si Rizal na isang charming at magaling na tao. No? Kaya nga itong si Petit Susan ay na-in-love sa kanya. He was lonely in a strange country. Ano mga panahon na yun ay nalulungkot siya sa isang malayong bansa. At yung alaala ni Leonor Rivera ay lalo nang nagpapalungkot sa kanya. Naturally, being a normal young man, he found certain bliss in the company of a pretty Belgian girl. Na-in-love din siya dito sa Belgian girl na to by the name of Petit Jacobi. No? Okay, so nag-flirt siya kay Petit Susan, but he could not stoop low to a deceptive amorous relationship. No? So, ibig sabihin, hindi rin niya sineryoso itong si Petit Jacobi. Although Rizal was in Paraguay, Madrid, Susan could not forget him. She wrote to him. Lagi niyang sumusulat si Susan kay Rizal while he was in Madrid. Okay, ito yung kanilang palitan ng sulat. So, tinatanong, where are you now? Naalala mo ba ako once in a while? Ayun, mga ganong conversation ba? Okay.